Hey folks, it's Tommy Frugal Prepper. I'm getting ready to head back to work, but I wanted to do a little quick video. You know, there's a lot of people when I show the amount of money that I make, and so I just really don't talk about that too much anymore. But I've made more so far this year doing side mechanic work than I make at my regular job. My regular 8 to 5 jobs kind of become my new side work. And, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, well, you don't have insurance and overhead and you're not paying taxes on that money, and blah, 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 blah. And there's a lot of mobile mechanics that don't. I do carry insurance. I do pay taxes, right? I do have an EIN number. I do have overhead. Believe it or not, Harbor Freight Tools, even Harbor Freight Tools cost money, and that has to be factored in. And I find that it's much better to buy cheaper tools that might break and I might have to throw them away than I am to spend 10 times as much on a Snap-on tool that might last forever. It doesn't make sense to me. There are a few specialty tools that Snap-on or Mac Tools have that I'll buy, but in general, I'm buying cheap tools. And I will invest my money into scan tools and J-boxes and stuff like that. To help me diagnose better. But as far as turning the nuts and bolts, you know, cheap tool works just fine. But there's still money involved in that. There's money involved in the gas for the vehicle. There's money involved in all that. You can, since I only drive this for work purposes, like I have to go program a vehicle tonight, so I have to take this vehicle to work, right? So I deduct all my mileage for this vehicle from my taxes. But you can become a mobile mechanic and you can make money and you can do it all above board and all legit and have insurance. Now I carry garage keepers insurance and some other kind of insurance and some general liability insurance. I don't know, but basically it covers a customer's car if it's in my possession, in my garage, or on my property. If something happens to it, if it gets burnt down, it gets vandalized, it get, you know, whatever. It also covers me no matter what vehicle I'm driving. If it belongs to a customer, I'm covered. Whether they have insurance or not, whether they have liability, whether they have a high deductible, whether they have, you know, full coverage, doesn't matter. I'm covered as a business owner if I have to go drive that vehicle. And that's important, right? You don't want to be driving customers' vehicles around and then find out they don't have any insurance and you get in an accident. It's going to be a nightmare. And, you know, in order to solve problems, to confirm the complaint, to confirm the repair, you have to sometimes test drive customer vehicles. I try to minimize my test driving as much as I can, but you still have to do it, because even though I'm insured, a lot of business insurance is one of those things you only get to use once. And then they cancel you, and then you have to try to find it again, and you're going to pay way more for it. So you really don't want to use it. I don't like advertise on my stuff that I'm insured. Like, I don't even want my customers to generally know that I have insurance. Why? Because if something goes wrong and they go to their lawyer and they're like, well, we want to sue this guy, we'll be like, well, you know, he doesn't have any money, don't have any insurance, you can sue him, you can spend all this money, you could probably win, but he'd probably be uncollectible. As soon as they hear insurance, they're like, oh, we can sue him for a couple million, right? So you don't want to advertise that necessarily, but you have to double and triple check your work, make sure all your bolts are tight, make sure everything safety wise is good before you know, let a car go. It is what it is. But yeah, I am above board on my side business, 100%. You know, I wasn't always, you know, it started out just working on a few family members' cars in the garage on the weekends and then doing some friends and doing some other stuff. But as this business has picked up, I've decided to pay my taxes legitimately, have an EIN number, to pay my business insurance, right? and to just do those things, and those are costs. And I've had to raise my prices by $25 an hour. So things I used to charge $50 an hour for, I now charge $75, and things that I used to charge $75 an hour for, I now charge $100 an hour for. And then I also added a new roadside assistance, basically a fee, which just covers somebody needs a jump, they need a quick belt replacement, they need a tire changed or a tire patched, and that's just a $50 fee. Usually takes 10 or 15 minutes and I'm done. Just to kind of help out some of those people from not having to pay that higher fee when they just need something simple. I do a lot of out of gases, tire replacements, changing it to spares, a lot of that kind of stuff. People just call me on a Sunday like, hey, my car won't start, and I go out and hook up the jump pack, so that helps out with that. And then like most mechanical repairs, like I'm doing a brakes, I'm doing a wheel bearing, I'm doing an axle, mechanical type stuff is going to be $75 an hour for the labor, and then diagnosis and electrical repairs are $100 an hour. It's typically where I'm at. And I've had to raise those costs, not so much because of the insurance. The insurance is around $1,000 a year. That's not a lot of money. But just everything costs more now, right? If you go buy a Phillips screwdriver at Harbor Freight, it used to be $1, now it's $1.69. Gas costs more, everything's costing more, so I've had to raise my prices to make it worth my while to go out and do this stuff. But yeah, I do my mechanics work all above board now. I have insurance and I pay my taxes. I have my regular job hold out a bunch of extra taxes. Like they're holding out like 2 to 3 times what would normally be held out, so that it helps cover this and the income from my YouTube channel, so I don't owe so much, right? Although this last year, I made an unexpectedly high amount of money. So I had to send off a big old check, which hurts. But I also typically hold out about 10% of what I make and just sit in a separate account, and that's like tax and emergencies. As far as parts, I usually put those on credit, and I usually just pay off that credit card in full every month. So I just make sure I don't spend the money that I spend on parts. I do sometimes mark up parts a little bit, but it's usually like $10 or something, just to cover my time to order it, to go and pick it up or whatever. But typically I'm not doing a whole lot of markup on parts. And a lot of times I can get the 20% off coupon in advance, or use my Speed Perks cash. And a lot of times when I get those discounts, I'm not passing those discounts on to the customer. That just becomes part of my profit, because I have to make money to stay in business, to keep servicing cars. And but I keep all the receipts, so that if a part goes bad and it's under warranty, I can take it back and return it for the customer. I scan all those receipts in, usually from the vehicle or from my office, and I keep all that. And I use Zoho to keep all my expenses and invoices and estimates and all that stuff all organized. And it really allows me to see a quick picture of my outstanding, receipts. Some customers are cash right now, they're due right now. I mean, they might pay with a credit card, but they have to pay at the time of service. Other customers, I have to give them that 30, right? I have to give them 30 days to pay, because they're a shop, and you have to send them an invoice, and you have to wait on them to mail you a check, So it depends on the customer, but that allows me to quickly see what I have outstanding, if there's any overdue. It allows me to send reminders, allows me to do all that stuff and see what all my current expenses are. So I just recommend that you take a look at that if you're doing some mobile mechanicing, and it's getting to more and more, to take a look at getting stuff organized, how you're billing and invoices, tracking expenses, and just pay your taxes, because it's not worth it. If you get in trouble with the IRS, it's just not worth it. I've been in trouble with the IRS. It took me years to work my way out of that trouble. I'm never going to have trouble with the IRS again if I can help it. Anyway, I got to get back to work now. I'll talk to you all later. This is Tom at Frugal Practice.